Hey there. Boy, have I got something special for you today. On the table there are three vintage Victorinox knives, all of them from the Gentlemen's and Ladies series. Two of them there you can see in gorgeous buffalo horn scales, all of them with a long nail file, and two of them hiding quite a surprise. So let's take a look at the first one. This is a smaller knife, the smaller of the three. It's a 74 or 75 millimeter model. It actually measures out at 75 millimeters, but you might say it's 74, I guess, because Victorinox later made a lot of 74 millimeter knives. You can see here it does have these gorgeous horn scales. This front has a lot of character. Both sides are really pretty, have a lot of swirl. You can see the exposed rivets. This is just a one layer knife, very slim and pocket friendly, so we'll pull it open and look at the main blade. It's got a blade etching that says Kalen Zurich. This is not uncommon to find on older Swiss Army knives where you would have a etching of a retailer and their location, and sometimes even a tang stamp. And the tang stamps read Victorinox Switzerland stainless without the Rost fry, and that's important. And on the other side, Victoria with the squatty crossbow. So Victorinox Switzerland stainless without the word Rost fry was used approximately from 1930 to 1950. And Victorinox with the crossbow here from 43 to 70. So we can bracket there and know that this knife is from the 1940s. And I want you to bear that in mind when you look at the condition of this knife, because to me it looks unused. There's no scratches on the blades. It has the factory edge, apparently. It's just hair splitting sharp. Here's the small blade. And opens on this one kind of at a little bit of an angle. And these are very small little pen blades. And again, it looks perfect. Whoa, on the back is the nail file. And there's a little cutout here. It's very small, and a little nail nick to get your finger in there. It opens out, and it gives you a very nice long nail tool, sometimes called the manicure tool. It's got a rounded end here that's safe to go up under your nails and clean with, and a file on the back side. Now, when they close up, they nestle down in the knife and cover the back springs, so it's nice and flush. So long nail files are hard to come by, kind of a rare tool, and that's on an older 1940s model with buffalo horn scales. Let's look at another 1940s model. This one is a little bigger. It's an 84 millimeter knife. Oh, by the way, this is model number 72. And can be found on page 32 of the old Victorinox or Elsener 1942 catalog as seen on SacWiki. So I'll stop here and put in an image of that page, and you can take a look for model 72. All right, this next one, while we're talking about that, is model 75 on page 34 of the same catalog, the 1942 Elsener catalog. And it's a two-layer knife. And so in addition to the large blade, well, let's take a look at the blade. So we can take a look at the tang stamp. Um, this one, it carries a tang stamp that says inoxide with the squatty crossbow, which again is a French word for stainless, or short for inoxidable, stainless steel, and nothing on the other side. So looking at the chart that everyone uses to date knives, and it's very approximate, but this knife would be, with the inoxide tang stamp, would have been issued from 1943 to 1951. So here again we have another knife from the 40s. Obviously we can find it in the 1942 catalog, so we know that that's pretty good. In addition to the blades, let's take a look at the short one, small blade. So here's the small blade on this one, and you know it's quite thin. I don't know if this is just the way this model came, or if this blade has been repaired. If it's been repaired, whoever did it did an expert job, because it's sharp as a razor all along. It has a good consistent look to it, but it does look awfully slim, even for a Victorinox small pen blade. And then in addition to those things, we have scissors. I can find them real quick. And the scissors have the old style spring. It is silver and a screw pivot. They work great. Now on the back, I already accidentally made the big reveal, but here's our nail file. It's a wide nail file. These are very, very rare. I've never had one before, and so here I am handling one. But let me just read to you real quickly what SACWiki says about this. Wide version. A very uncommon tool is a wide version of the long nail file that is known to have been included on some 84mm stainless steel and horn-scaled models in the Gentlemen and Ladies Knife series, as well as some Selador models. The wide version of the nail file is essentially 2 layers wide and covers the entire back spring of the knife, completely hiding the springs, and was given a mirror polish on the luxury models. The tool is very slightly tapered and varies in width from 5.5 millimeters at the pivot to 5.35 millimeters just before the final taper for the nail cleaning tip. This compares to 2.6 millimeters down to 2.4 millimeters for the narrow version. Okay, so let's take a look at this very, very rare tool. There's a little cutout right here, and there's actually a little nail nick in the side of that very narrow tool to get your thumbnail in. It opens up. You can see that it is quite wide. It tapers at the end here. And then on the back, there's a nice big usable file. This is how it nestles down in the knife. It completely covers those 2 back springs and gives the knife this sealed off, solid look to it, which is just great. A very, very interesting knife. Now, the next one that I have here in front of us is obviously in Selador. It's pretty much just like the one we looked at, except it's Selador with this shield, as you can see. And the large blade has a tang stamp of Victoria, Switzerland stainless Ross Fry now. And on the back, Victoria with the squatty crossbow. So when you add the word Ross Fry, Victoria, Switzerland stainless Ross Fry, you can date this knife from 1952 to 1986. But we know that exposed rivets weren't used like past the 50s. So we can say this knife is probably from 52 to 57, somewhere in there. And here's the small blade. Now that's what the small blade looks on this on this one. So to compare it to this one, you can see there is quite a difference there. So and then the scissors. Now, there's no cutout here in the Selador scales for the scissors like there is in the horn scale version. But they're basically the same scissors. Now the single leaf spring is black and it has a screw pivot. And then the wide nail file is pretty much the same. I did notice one subtle difference, and that was that on the 40s version, on the left there, the tip seems to be tapered a little differently than on the 50s version. Okay, one final comparison. I would be remiss if I didn't do this, but let's take a look at a long, narrow file next to a long, wide nail file. And we're going to use both the 1940s knives to stay as consistent as possible. So, of course, this one's longer because it comes from a bigger knife, but you can see there it is twice as wide as the narrow file. And it's thicker. They both have the file on the inside. That just gives you a look at the dimensions of those side by side. So there you have it. 3 really beautiful vintage Victorinox Swiss Army knives, all with long nail files. 2 of them with very rare wide long nail files, all on the table together in one place. So let's just have them touch so we can feel all that positive SAC energy emanating off the table. It's truly amazing. These knives are actually on loan from the Dave Arnold collection, a truly amazing collection which I've been able to use recently to film some really special knives to bring to you. I'm going to be traveling to meet Dave in person and see his collection in person soon. So I'm super excited about that because he's going to allow me to film his entire collection and just bring you an overview of it, and then videos on several very special knives. So thanks for watching, and please stay tuned for that.